It all started in the late 70s for you, coaching Newtown. How was that?
It did, yeah. Well, I owe them a great debt of gratitude, actually, and they'd won a few wooden spoons. I'm not sure how many. I think there was about 3 in a row, and my facetious friends used to say, "Well, you can't do any worse. I know you take the job." So that's Frank Farrington and John Singleton were behind that. Yeah, Singo and Frank Farrington, and so I took the job. Yeah.
And then what you're probably more known for, then you took over the Bulldogs and had great success there. And you started the Dogs of War, very defence orientated, broke a lot of players' ribs.
Yeah, well,
what was it like at the Bulldogs?
A 5-metre rule. Yeah, they were a mighty group, and I still see a few of them. You had Langmack on last week, and we still catch up, as you know, and Dave Gillespie. That's great, actually.
What did you used to say to David Gillespie before a game?
I used to just pull him by the sleeve and say, "Discourage him, Dave." Well, on a 5-metre rule, they had to do something about it because it was just... I think Harry Bath in the late 70s was saying, there's not enough room to play this game, but nobody was doing anything about it, so we did something about it. We stopped the game.
So they had to change the game, the rules?
They did. They had to change it.
That's the first occasion, a few other times.
It was a major change, With a stroke of a pen, everyone had to travel twice as far. There'd be a lot of blokes swearing about me, I suppose. You double the distance, 5 to 10 metres. The defence is moving every time.
And what about, talking about changing, you're actually the first one to break up the field into percentages, into thirds.
I called it a line theory, yeah. Well, it was a slowly evolving thing, and it became apparent to me that the forwards got a bit of kick out of knowing if they were driving a certain line and doing a bit of damage and leaving a few bodies on the ground, the backs were profiting hugely by the numbers they had to deal with. And for example, if you run in the middle of the field, there'll be 2 markers, a full-back, and 5 defenders. If you go to 70, there'll be 3 defenders on the keep going and 7 on the coming back and 2 markers and a full-back. And they knew that if it gave them some sort of value to their hard work they did, that if a few dead bodies lying on the ground and you were away and passing the ball, they were numerically diminished somewhat.
Well, you're the one to blame for all the block plays. No, that's pretty much the game's down to that, hasn't it?
No, I wasn't into block plays. No, not at all. I think that was. I'm not sure who started that. It's.
You manipulated the picture that you wanted. You basically said, if we get to that point, well, this is the picture that we're going to get.
Yes, and you could even identify who you'd be targeting, with your attack too, because Harry Bloggs is going to be 2 in from the winger there, and Freddie will be 3 in over here.
So when you got to Newcastle in the late 90s, I think it was 99 and 2000, you got to work with Andrew Johns.
I did.
What was he like to coach?
Well, he was extraordinarily good, because if Joey didn't, turn up and run the show didn't run. He was pretty important. I didn't change much. I just wanted them to, play as, particularly Joey, to play as he always played, and I didn't want to restrict him in any way and overcoach. So things went pretty good, actually, and we didn't quite crack it the first year. We were en route to a grand final, and Roosters stopped us.
No, we didn't. I stopped us. I threw an intercept to him, and it still burns me.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
It still burns me. Absolutely still burns me.
Yeah, and you were even given cheek at half-time, telling them to prepare for Monday, didn't we?
What an absolute...
We had them down, 16-2 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and they got up and beat us. So that would have been my 7th.
Well, you had your fingerprints all over it. We won the comp the next
year. You won the comp, yeah.
Well, the one everyone's most well known is the Tigers one.
89.
The Tigers grand final 89. Well, that was regarded one of the best grand finals of all time.
Yeah, it was, Freddie. Probably because it was an overtime game. It was drawn at full time, and we went into overtime. And when you look at their side, they were a side, on the move, really. They were, you know, brilliantly gifted.
Yeah, very young, weren't they?
They were young and on the rise, yeah. They were, you know, brilliant side, Canberra. And anyway, there wasn't much in it. But be nice to have won them all. It's been a nice tally, but they're hard to win, hard to get to.
Who about the messages? Like, I remember I was a kid and I played against the Tigers, that team, in '89. And I remember Ron Willie saying to Matt Goodwin, the first game, he said, punch Steve Roach in the head, start a brawl.
Oh, that'd be a good
idea.
idea.
The whole softening up thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm sort of sitting there going, that doesn't sound too smart.
Go in and poke the bear. That's a good idea.
But, like, you know, the game's changed so much. You know, what do you think about the game, you know, where it was and, you know, how it looks today?
Oh, I think it's terrific. And I give Peter V'landys a lot of credit too. The game's terrific. They've just got to be a bit careful about the 6 to go, though. I have seen it. I've said to Joey many times, the refs are there to facilitate the outcome, not cause it. And the more they can disappear out of a game and let the game work itself out, you know, obviously the penalties have to be given if they're warranted. But I remember Bill Harrigan always had the skill of sort of disappearing out of the game, the big games, and letting the players work it out. And they knew if they did the wrong thing, they'd get penalised anyway. So he had control without having to do much.
A couple of sets, your philosophies that still stand up today, you brought to Newcastle, and you even came into Origin when Freddie was coaching. Screwdriver sets through the middle.
Yeah.
When Warren first came to Newcastle, he said to me, you know, this game can be played out of dummy half the whole time.
You know what he said to me? I said, listen, you realise this whole game can be played out of dummy half? And he said, it'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? I said, not if you're winning it, wouldn't it?
So our philosophy is we used to play very laterally. We had a quick play the ball, we'd like feed it out wide, but then everything changed, and then you put Denny Badeiras to hooker, and then attacking out of dummy half, and then when you were at Origin, remember we had the screwdriver sets.
You didn't even change the name of it.
Yeah,
it wouldn't change.
We had the Roosters too, called Screwdriver.
But then we'd bring Tom Trebojevic into the middle, and we had two fullbacks, him and Teddy, around the middle.
Well, that's where it's dynamite. If you're driving if you asked forwards what they least like doing, they'd say being driven backwards in the middle of the field, trying to recover and having people continually coming at them. And particularly got a couple of speedsters just sitting off the opportunity of that drive through the gap because it can't laterally close quick enough because of the speed of the Slaters and all these people.
Well, you said it.
Well, that's brought the little fullbacks back in, hasn't it? Look at Trey Fuller.
Yeah.
Well, you and Cooper and Cameron used to manipulate the ruck better than anyone.
Yeah. People would always say, like, you're playing against 120-kilo monsters and that. The big guy feared the little guy more.
Oh,
In
yes.
the middle of the field.
Yeah,
The little guy
his
feared
footwork.
the big guy.
Yeah.
The footwork, the fatigue, and the game now more than ever suits the little guy. The speed of the game, quick play of the balls. It's a battle in the middle.
Turning again, isn't it?
I was listening to Joey's calls, and when he talks about the fatigue setting in, that's when the creative guys really start to, and the guys with footwork really start to hit their straps, don't they? Get the opportunities because the big blokes can't close the gaps, the lateral gaps quickly enough for the sharp blokes to get through.
What about some of the coaches now? Craig Bellamy, what do you think?
Oh, he's marvellous. He's marvellous. So, I remember we were working on radio, and some games were played at Adelaide, at the cricket ground there at Adelaide, and we were up in the ABC Adelaide cricket booth, which is behind the stumps, which means you're right behind the goalpost, watching the team play, and just the way they played the gaps, I said, this bloke can coach. Straight away, I thought, geez, they all know how to play the gaps, these blokes, you know.
Well, Warren, thanks for coming on. That was.
Appreciate
I
it.
wish we could talk all day about it. I love sitting talking footy with you. Without doubt, you've touched so many footy players. So thanks for your contribution to rugby league, and thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks very much for acknowledging me. Thank you.